I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like, I don't think about you. You change the definitions and then you say, I'm more conservative. I believe what I've always believed. You change these things and then you yell at me for it. You guys at CNN just report the news straight, and the crowd burst into laughter. Look, I'm on CNN now. I guess we're on it right now. I mean, they show this show the next night. I don't know how we get away with it with all the but they do.
Bill Maher just did what no one at CNN saw coming. He put Kaitlan Collins on blast live on air. But before we break down this shocking moment, let's rewind. It all started when Maher appeared on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. The topic? The state of modern news media. In passing, Maher casually remarked that CNN was simply reporting the news. And just like that, Colbert's audience burst into laughter, like it was some kind of punchline. Here's the thing.
And I'm a big rooter for CNN, but that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing in that arena of like, this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch.
Maher wasn't carrying water for Fox News, nor was he defending any right-wing outlet. He was making a point that millions of people have already noticed. CNN's credibility has taken a major hit. There was a time when CNN was widely regarded as a reliable, middle-of-the-road news source. But in recent years, its reputation has drastically changed, especially among conservative audiences.
There are a whole lot of people who are just conditioned to only wanting to hear one side of the story.
Correct. They do not want to hear the other side.
Instead of sticking to hard news, they've leaned heavily into opinion, selective coverage, and overt bias. Whether it's elections, political controversies, or even major speeches, the slant isn't even subtle anymore. And when even a liberal commentator like Bill Maher is calling them out, you know there's a problem. Maher isn't some conservative firebrand trying to dunk on the left. He's a lifelong liberal, but he doesn't hesitate to call out hypocrisy, no matter where it comes from. And this time, his target was CNN's double standard when covering political speeches. Maher pointed out something undeniable. When Democratic politicians speak, CNN's hosts glow. They break down every line like it's poetry, offering endless praise. But when a Republican steps up, every word is dissected with skepticism. Every statement is picked apart for controversy. Every speech is treated like a potential scandal. At that point, it's no longer journalism. It's activism. Think about it. A network that claims to be fair and objective shouldn't have two wildly different standards depending on who is speaking. That's not news. That's an agenda. And if you thought that was harsh, wait until we get to how Kaitlan Collins handled Trump. During CNN's infamous town hall with Trump, Collins went after him on Ukraine, repeatedly pressing him on whether he wanted Ukraine to win the war. But Maher saw right through it. To him, this wasn't about getting a real answer. It was yet another classic media trap. Here's how it works. If Trump had outright said Ukraine should win, CNN could have twisted it into him pushing for World War III. If he had backed Russia, they'd have branded him a traitor. Either way, it was a no-win scenario. Collins wasn't looking for a clear response. She was fishing for a viral moment. Trump didn't take the bait. Instead of walking straight into CNN's setup, he played it smart, sidestepping the trap and sticking to a single clear answer. He wanted the war to end. No dramatic soundbite, no viral misstep, just a calculated response that left Collins with nothing to spin.
Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying, Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop.
And Bill Maher? He wasn't fooled. He called out Collins and CNN for ditching real journalism in favor of pushing an agenda. He even pointed out how exhausting it is to watch news anchors act more like prosecutors than reporters. And let's be honest, he's got a point. Instead of engaging in real policy discussions, Collins seemed far more focused on trapping Trump into a headline-worthy moment, something CNN could milk for days. And that right there is why so many people are losing faith in mainstream media. When journalists prioritize gotcha moments over actual reporting, news stops being about informing the public and starts becoming just another form of entertainment, only with tanking ratings. But Maher wasn't done. He took it even further, calling out one of CNN's biggest cover-ups. Let's talk about the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. If you followed this story, you know exactly how it unfolded. Back in 2020, the New York Post dropped a bombshell about Hunter's laptop. Emails, files, and documents that raised serious concerns about the Biden family's dealings. But instead of investigating, CNN and other mainstream outlets immediately dismissed it as Russian disinformation. Fast forward to today. And guess what? The laptop was real. The emails were real. And even CNN had to quietly admit it, long after it mattered. Maher didn't let that slide. He pointed out the uncomfortable truth. CNN buried the story because they knew it could have impacted the election. And he called it what it was: media suppression. Now, just imagine if this had been Donald Trump Jr. caught in the same scandal. CNN would have run wall-to-wall coverage for months. Non-stop panel discussions, breaking news alerts, breathless reports about the corrupt Trump family. But when it's Hunter Biden, silence. That's why Maher's honesty stands out. Unlike most liberal commentators, he actually acknowledged the media's double standard. Because at the end of the day, the press is supposed to hold all politicians accountable, not just the ones they don't like. And that's the uncomfortable truth CNN refuses to face. They love branding themselves as the defenders of democracy. But what kind of democracy is it when the media only covers stories that fit their own narrative? At this point, Bill Maher had already peeled back the curtain on CNN's selective coverage, media traps, and tendency to bury stories that don't align with their preferred narrative. But he wasn't done. He went even further, exposing the network's double standards and how they pretend to be neutral while subtly shaping public perception to fit their ideological agenda. And this isn't just about what they cover. It's about how they cover it. Take any major political speech. When a Democrat takes the stage, CNN's analysts race to frame it as historic unifying or a defining moment in leadership. But when a Republican speaks, every sentence is dissected, real-time fact checks flood the screen, and the tone suddenly shifts to warnings about dangerous rhetoric. Maher didn't hold back. He called out CNN for being more than just biased. They're activists masquerading as journalists. They don't just report the news, they curate it, deciding what's worthy of public attention and, more importantly, what isn't. And let's be real, this isn't some groundbreaking revelation. People have been pointing out CNN's slant for years, but hearing it from Bill Maher, that hits differently. He's no conservative firebrand. He's been a liberal voice for decades. So when even he says CNN's credibility has collapsed, it's not just right-leaning audiences paying attention. It's everyone. Which brings us back to Kaitlan Collins. She represents CNN's new era, reporters who claim neutrality while actively steering the narrative. She tried to corner Trump. She tried to uphold CNN's carefully curated illusion of credibility. But Maher wasn't fooled. And in exposing her, he revealed something bigger. Even within liberal circles, CNN's reputation is crumbling. So what did we just witness? Bill Maher exposing the cracks in CNN's foundation. For years, they've sold themselves as the gold standard of journalism, the last line of defense against misinformation. But Maher just called out their manipulation for what it is. And Kaitlan Collins? She wasn't ready.